Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the beautiful WFCU Center in Windsor. It's my pleasure, on behalf of the Canadian Hockey League, my name is Paul Krotz, Director of Communications, to not only welcome you here, but to be part of this very special day in anticipation for the 2017 MasterCard Memorial Cup. With hockey season quickly approaching, it's very exciting to be here and to hear a little bit more about some of the plans the Spitfires and the CHL and the City of Windsor have in place for next year's prestigious national championship. It will be the 99th edition of the MasterCard Memorial Cup, and we're very excited to be here today. I'd like to introduce our guest speakers for today. Please welcome the Honorable City of Windsor Mayor Drew Dilkens, the Host Organizing Committee Military Coordinator Mike Ekpata, and Host Organizing Committee Chair John Savage. Before we hear from our speakers, I'd like you to turn your attention to the Jumbotron for a quick video feature. A lot of great hockey moments we just saw on the screen, and we're sure to see a lot more next May when the CHL's best compete for the Memorial Cup right here on Windsor ice. One of the main reasons we're here today is to unveil, for the first time live on Cogeco TV and to you here at the WFCU Center, the official logo for the 2017 MasterCard Memorial Cup. To help me do that, I please welcome from the Windsor Spitfires, Gabe Velarde and Michael DiPietro. Guys, please do the honors. Isn't that logo beautiful?
Love it.
Looks great, guys. To speak about the significance of this logo and what it means for the City of Windsor, not only in symbolic measure, but what the event brings to the city, please welcome His Worship Mayor Drew Dilkens.
Boy, this is short. Can you all hear me? This is great. Good afternoon, everyone. What an exciting afternoon to be here at the WFCU to talk about the Memorial Cup once again. We're all very excited. Everyone love this logo? Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's exciting to be here today for the unveiling of this logo that will be used to represent the Windsor Spitfires and the City of Windsor in the 99th MasterCard Memorial Cup Championship coming to Windsor in May of next year. Now, Windsor City Council is dedicated to our city being the best that it can be in all areas. We work to provide a high quality of life for the people who live here and unforgettable world-class experiences for those who visit. We are committed to strengthening our city, to encouraging people to celebrate Windsor and all that it has to offer, and of course to creating an overwhelmingly positive public conversation about our incredible community. Sport tourism and our involvement in this area is an integral part of this strategy, and one that is having a solidly positive impact on the reputation we are building on the world stage. Anyone read the paper last week, the Conference Board of Canada report? You did. Raise your hand. You know you did. And the Conference Board of Canada, in the report that was released last week, talked about the 15 Canadian cities, saying that Windsor is expected to have the 4th fastest growing economy in 2016, with sport tourism and manufacturing leading the way. This is very good news for our city. The report talks about job creation, large investments in our auto industry, and our plans on hosting major sporting events such as the MasterCard Memorial Cup next year, and of course in this facility in December, the FINA 25-meter World Swimming Championships. In Windsor, we know that sport tourism is an economic driver. We know our involvement in this industry brings thousands of people to our city to compete, but also to explore. We know that each successful event allows us to seek new events in the future. They build on one another progressively, and collectively, they strengthen our reputation. These events also give us an opportunity to lead by example and to be remembered by those involved in the events and, of course, by those who come to cheer them on. We want to see a community at its best. Windsor can make that happen. You want to see some of Canada's finest athletes compete in the most prestigious tournament? Windsor will welcome you. Windsor is a real player in the global sports community, and of course, I don't have to tell anyone here that information. Windsor dares to lead, the fourth fastest growing economy in 2016. It shows that our hard work is paying off. And as Mayor of the City of Windsor, I'm committed to ensuring, and I've talked to John and to Stephen and so many others with the Spitfire organization, and Brian who's here, and I've always said that and we said to Dave Branch, in fact, during our bid presentation, that we're committed to making the 2017 Memorial Cup the most memorable MasterCard Memorial Cup ever. So this is a great day to see this logo. It's great to have the storied Lancaster bomber. Of course, many of us recall the time when we were younger, driving over the Olette overpass and kind of just waiting, fingers on the edge of the window, waiting as we come down to see that airplane in the park. So it's so fitting that storied aircraft that has such a long history in our community is a large piece of the logo going forward. So thank you to all of you for being here. We look forward to the most memorable MasterCard Memorial Cup next May, and it's great to see everyone here and this wonderful logo that's going to be front and center on all the material coming forward. Thanks very much, everyone.
In addition to the Lancaster bomber, you'll notice that the logo features, of course, the Memorial Cup trophy, which will be competed for the 99th time in our league's history. It also features the traditional CHL and LCH logos atop our title sponsor, MasterCard, a rebranded logo for their 19th year of title sponsorship of this event. You'll also see the poppy, which is symbolic of the CHL and this event's long-standing support of Canadian Armed Forces. For more about the military significance of the logo and what the event has to offer, please welcome Host Organizing Committee Military Coordinator Mike Akpata.
Thank you very much. Your Worship, Windsorites gathered here together. As a veteran, I stand before you to say, this is what our community is about. It's not a plane. It is our history. It's not a logo. It is our past. Years ago, young men, young boys, climbed into these planes all over England to fly, navigating with compass and pencil, not with GPS or computer, but with the skills and trust in each other to do a deed that some thought to be impossible. You'd look up and you'd hear the roar of Commonwealth air power, not to take land, but to liberate land. Not to hurt, not to stop, but to bring what we have, freedom, to a certain place. As His Worship has said, this logo ties in what is the most important about Canada, is our commitment to remember. The Memorial Cup was a trophy that was first presented to memorialize First World War hockey players who left to go fight when they heard the call of empire. And that is what we stand here to remember today, is the history of our country, why we have what we have, and to remember that the poppy stands for those of us who have served and those who gave their tomorrows for our todays. For as we look around the world and we look around our community, this community understands. From the street St. Julian to the street Verdun to the street Dieppe. The anniversary of the Dieppe raid tomorrow. This community understands sacrifice. This isn't a logo. This is a tribute to the hundreds of thousands of Canadian soldiers, sailors, airmen, and airwomen who allow us to do what we do today. To the CHL, I'm proud to participate. To the Spitfire organization, I get choked up when people do the right thing for the right reason. We have our community. I look at this and I think of those soldiers who were lost in Afghanistan, those soldiers who were lost in Dieppe, and the freedoms that we have today. For when we leave this place, it will be quiet and peaceful, and as you walk past the WFCU, look at that piece of cloth that we love that flies. It represents the best of this country, and we've encapsulated this on this logo. I'm proud to bring my experience, my knowledge, to ensure that everyone in the military community can participate, it is done respectfully, and that we remind the rest of the country that Windsor is a community whose heart is as big as the sky. Thank you very much.
So very powerful stuff. Thank you very much, Mike. Events of this magnitude are certainly not made possible without the support of communities, and we see no more strength than community in Windsor than anywhere else in this province. To talk more about some of the club's community outreach initiatives and further event preparations, please welcome Host Organizing Committee Chair John Savage.
Wow. Makes you proud to be a Canadian to stand up here and hear that truth that comes out about the history of this cup and the sacrifice that these young men made. This has been a this has been a very exciting time for all of us on the host committee, from the initial decision to bid on the 2017 MasterCard Memorial Cup to now being fully engaged in pulling the pieces together to deliver on the Mayor's promise and our desire, which is to ensure that this will be the best MasterCard Memorial Cup the league has ever seen. And I would like to extend right now a big thanks for the tremendous cooperation that we have been receiving from the Canadian Hockey League and from all the departments at the City of Windsor, the Mayor's office, as well as the sponsors and hundreds of people that have already come out of our community that have come forward to offer their time to help make this an event a success. There's been a great deal of creativity and energy that has come out around what can we do, not just to create a more engaging venue for the MasterCard Memorial Hockey Cup games, but what can we do to showcase the City of Windsor and the entire region of Essex County and engage everyone in this event. The host committee has been working diligently on building out some very creative and unique opportunities for everybody to enjoy this MasterCard Cup. The first stage of involving Windsor and the surrounding communities is to introduce the 2017 MasterCard Memorial Cup logo patch program, and we have started now and will be reaching out to all the local minor hockey associations and hockey players at all levels to support the 2017 MasterCard Memorial Cup logo crest for their 2016-2017 season. This is just the beginning of a myriad of programs and events that we are working on to engage the whole community. The 2017 MasterCard Memorial Cup is an event that has something for everyone. From the host games through to the community and regional events and to the final raising of the cup itself, Windsor will deliver. Thank you.
Fans can certainly stay up to date with all the news as we quickly approach not only this hockey season but next May's MasterCard Memorial Cup. To do so, please follow online at windsor2017.com and of course at mastercardmemorialcup.ca. That about concludes our formal portion of today's press conference. Thank you again to our speakers, His Worship Mayor Drew Dilkins, Mike Akpata, and John Savage from the Host Organizing Committee, certainly to our media in attendance, to you fans and minor hockey players, and of course to Cogeco TV and all the viewers out in the Windsor and Essex County areas. Thank you for your support. On behalf of the CHL, I'm certainly very much looking forward to next May and watching the Spitfires compete against the CHL's best. We'll invite a few folks to the front for a group photo, and then for media in attendance, we'll break into one-on-one interviews. But once again, thank you everyone for coming.
I'm Mike Thomas reporting for WE TV. We're here at the logo announcement for the 2017 MasterCard Memorial Cup. I am with John Savage. And John, what is your role?
I'm the chair of the host committee.
Very good. And what's the importance? Like, what was the importance with the logo, and how did you select that?
Well, they the Canadian Hockey League, who is responsible and working with MasterCard in terms of developing that logo, came to us, and what they do is they say, send us some ideas and some concepts with respect to what you believe stands out most in Windsor. And we had two options, but this was the primary one that we were pushing forward, just because of the heritage and the connection to the World War I and the military. And so they take that and they incorporate that as part of the logo to represent Windsor specifically. If you go to any of the other cities that have hosted it in the past, you'll see some emblem in there that relates specific to that city.
That sounds terrific. Was the city council or the mayor, were they influential? That they had some advice saying, "Well, this is what we really want. This is what we're looking for."
Everybody, it's a very collaborative effort in terms of putting forward. There was, delivery around, and certainly the mayor's office would have been aware of what we were doing and had the ability to make comment on it. But it was pretty much unanimous when you looked at that symbol, what we were sending out there, and what it really means. As you listen to Mike Ekpata and what he said in his comments, which were very moving, I thought, that it really was, there was no other choice.
Can you tell me more about the outreach program?
The outreach program, this is one of many different initiatives that we have going, but this is the first step out. What we're trying to do is make this more than just the hockey game, although that's the core and that's the most important at the end. But as the host committee, we're very involved in trying to make sure that the whole community, LaSalle and Tecumseh and Bell River and all the communities around the county are engaged in one way or another, that we're trying to set up activities and events. So this patch program that we have with the logo, we're encouraging all of the hockey associations, and a lot of them have started to step forward already, particularly from the city of Windsor, and we'll start reaching out to the other communities, that they'll sport this on their jerseys or their helmets and carry it forward for the 2016-27 season.
That sounds excellent. Okay, I've been with John Savage, host organizing chair for this year's 2017 MasterCard Memorial Cup. Hi, Mike Thomas reporting for WE TV. I'm with Mayor Drew Dilkins, and here we are talking about Windsor and the 2017 MasterCard Memorial Cup. Hi.
Hey, Mike. Great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. So, what are your thoughts on the logo?
Listen, I think the logo captures the essence of the event, but it also really brings in a solid piece of Windsor's history. So we know the Memorial Cup back to its foundations almost 100 years ago was driven, and the military and veterans were a huge part of the foundation of the Memorial Cup. And the fact that we were able to capture the Lancaster bomber, one of the last few remaining Lancaster bombers in the world, one that we have here in the city of Windsor, I think it's really important that we've captured that in the logo design for our Memorial Cup in 2017.
Very good. Now you're talking about during your speech about the Windsor having a very growing economy. So what is what kind of support is Windsor going to get for having this tournament or the Memorial Cup down here?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we pursue this event. This was the third time that we pursued this event in the last few years, so we were prepared to make a commitment, and I'm sure City Council will be making a commitment in some form to make sure that the event is delivered to be the most memorable MasterCard Memorial Cup to date. That was a promise I made to Dave Branch, and of course the Spitfire ownership, the Schwab, Brian Schwab, and the Savage brothers, Bob Bugner, and the entire team here with the Spitfires has been just fantastic to work with. And they have the same goal as well. They know that this is our community. It represents the Spitfires. It represents Windsor. So we have a very aligned and shared vision to make sure that this is going to be the most memorable MasterCard Memorial Cup.
Is there other types of funding, like federal, provincial funding, that is able to assist, like I say, in planned development? You know how we talk about the East Side sometimes and getting in more, more hospitality. Does that give Windsor that opportunity to look at those things or not?
Yeah, the Memorial Cup is not generally one of the events that you go after funding for, simply because it's an event that's held every year, and it's not like one of those one-off events like you see with FINA that moves to different parts of the world. So I don't know, I'm not aware of any funding that we could pursue, but the event in many ways is self-sustaining. There will be some support required, there's no doubt, from the city and operations-wise from the city, but at the end of the day, people buy tickets, the fees that are generated from the tickets are used and plowed right back into the event. to execute great events. And so we're going to be committed on delivering what we have to do. There'll be some improvements you see here at the WFCU. There may be a cash contribution from the city. There may be a sponsorship opportunity if we decide to offset some of the costs by way of transit and moving people around. There's a number of ways that I think we can be helpful as a city, and we're willing to play our role to make sure that we deliver the most memorable MasterCard Memorial Cup.
And the puck drops here today, as we saw. What are you doing and working with the Windsor Spitfires to make sure that we're one of the teams in the finals?
Well, listen, the Spits have really done a lot of work this last year to make sure that they're lining their bench strength and getting the right people around the table. And listen, that was one of the key things that the CHL and Dave Branch and the committee wanted to know when they were interviewing us about through our bid process, whether or not this team actually has a chance to make it on its own into the Memorial Cup. And they believed, as do we, as of course do the Spitfires, believe that this team that they have for this coming year is really going to be a stellar team and will be quite capable in their own right, much less, of course, guaranteeing a spot because we're the host city, but we believe they can make it on their own right.
Sounds fantastic, and thank you, Mayor Drew Delkins. Hi, Mike Thomas reporting for WeTV. I'm with Mike Akpada, and what is your role, Mike?
I am the military liaison on this committee.
Okay, very good. Now, I was listening to speeches, and we see it's a tournament, okay, and we see there's a cup going to be held up at the end of the day. Is that what really a Memorial Cup's all about?
For me, no. And for most of the veterans, no. The Memorial Cup was designed to commemorate those OHL soldiers, those young men, boys, that during the First World War gave up playing hockey to answer the call of empire then, to put on a uniform, to go into the trenches, to go into Sopwith Camels, to defend Canadian, British, and other countries during the First World War. This cup is a memorial to every individual who gave up what they had, in this case hockey, to go and allow other people to be free. So when I see these young hockey players raise that cup up, I think of the 17-year-olds who didn't come back from Vimy. I think of the 17-year-olds who didn't come back from Dieppe. I think of the 17-year-olds who didn't come back from my tour in Afghanistan. And that trophy represents the best of Canadian youth, and it's being perpetuated today when those young men will raise that cup.
So what is your plan going to be to incorporate that remembrance, okay, as we go forward until we get to the 2017 MasterCard Memorial Cup?
As you can imagine, we have an excellent educational opportunity. We have an excellent opportunity to make sure that people appreciate the game that we're going to play here, but also understand the backdrop, what is behind the covers to say, that there's more to being Canadian than only taking. That this cup showed that there's hockey players that gave. Hockey players that decided that the game they loved was not as important as the freedom of other people. And we want to make sure that all Canadians understand that this country has an incredibly rich and incredibly powerful history. And while some will just look at it as a game, most veterans and most people who understand the story of that cup see it as a symbol of appreciation of the freedoms that we have. And if we can put that thought into 2 more Canadians' minds, or 3 or 4, and they look at things a little differently and appreciate what we have in this country and understand that someone had to sacrifice their tomorrows for our todays so that we can watch a game in freedom and peace, then that's what's worth it. So my goal is to make sure that all veterans groups, all serving members of the military, all retired members of the military are able to speak their story to some of the people that are here, to make sure that the Canadians can see what Canadian self-sacrifice looks like, and to ensure that the underlying intention of this cup is given its honor here in Windsor.
Thank you very much, Mike. Mike Akpada, host, organizing committee, and military liaison.